The desk looks a little different at night now, doesn't it? A bit messy, perhaps, but not without its charm, I suppose.
Hi, I'm James Turner, and I'm the co-director of the Plucky Squire. The Plucky Squire is a game about a book and the hero that lives inside that book, whose name is Jot. He's the hero of the land. He's used to everything going his way and being lauded for being the virtuous hero of the land of Mojo. But there's also a villain that is resentful of Jot. This villain named Hungrump hatches a scheme to push Jot out of that book and take over the book for himself. When he pushes Jot out of the book, he actually pushes him from the 2D realm into the 3D realm. And at that point, you realize that this book is actually on a child's desk. There's a whole 3D world outside of this 2D realm that Jot never knew existed. And so he has to adventure within the book and outside the book on the 3D desk. At the very start, it was just, I have this very simple kind of 2D drawing style. And I was thinking about a kind of game that could utilize that 2D drawing style. My son was very young at the time. We had lots of picture books in the house. And so they were very much on my mind. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if that 2D style got translated into like a picture book, and then you could play as a character within a picture book. Even at that time, I was thinking of the book as like a 3D object. Like you could turn the pages or maybe peel the pages back to reveal something underneath them. I did want it to be like a kind of 3D object. I brought this up with the game's co-director, Jonathan Biddle, aka Bids. And we were talking about it, and we'd been exploring Unreal quite a lot. We're kind of really enjoying doing that, but we had this idea with the 2D book. And so while we were brainstorming this idea, the possibility of incorporating the 3D more into the game came up. Like, what if you could jump out of the 2D book and run around in the 3D world? That was the eureka moment of that first conversation that we had about the game. Definitely from a gameplay point of view, Nintendo have been a big inspiration, and as you mentioned, we did make games for Nintendo, both of us, in separate projects. So they're kind of our reference points. When you're making a game, you're always thinking, is this going to be fun? And then a way to be confident that it's fun is to know something that you've played before that was kind of in a similar style and recall having fun in that particular genre. The mini games that we were putting in throughout the game, we were recalling really good experiences we'd had playing games growing up as part of development. You want to pay tribute to the games that you love. And so the ones that came immediately to mind were Punch-Out, or for the 2D top-down sections, Zelda. We're both big fans of the Super Nintendo Zelda. And they're like the 2D arcade shooting games. We both kind of grew up with those, so they're really a touch point. It's really fun to kind of take something that you love and then emulate that and then bring it to life with a different kind of spin on it. I grew up with British comics like 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, that kind of thing. But I've always been drawn to French comics. There's a particular kind of drawing style that you see in Belgian comics and French comics where they have very simple line work. Best known example of that would be Tintin. Very simple kind of colors and beautiful line work. That's where my aesthetic influences are in terms of drawing. I like to kind of pare things down to the most simplest way and then let the line work and the colors do the speaking. Accessibility is important to us because we think that the game's visuals and the kind of general style of it will attract younger players, possibly, like kids who might be interested in this. But at the same time, there are grown-ups that appreciate that kind of visual style. And so knowing that there could be a wide range of players playing the game, we want it to be challenging enough for those more experienced players, but then players who are perhaps not a bit more experienced or are not particularly interested in like a tough challenge, we want to cater for them as well. Our philosophy is the more options we have there, the better, so that the wider range of players that can play the game, all the better. Primarily, when we were thinking about the game, we were aiming it at ourselves in that we are those kids that were playing those games 20, 30 years ago. I started off playing the SNES and then graduated to the Nintendo 64. Bids, the co-director, he's also the same. I think he had a SNES, and then we've been gamers ever since. This is the kind of game that we would really enjoy, playing tribute to those games that we loved in the past. And then we're hoping that it will appeal to people like us that have grown up playing those games. But at the same time, we're both also fathers, and we would like to create games that our kids can also enjoy. Hopefully, the game will also appeal to younger people. Like, my son is under 10 and he's been playing it a lot recently. He seems to be enjoying it. So very happy to see that. And we really hope that that's the kind of wide range that this game could appeal to. The structure of the game is fairly straightforward. It's very much kind of a story-driven kind of structure, so you're progressing from one chapter to the next. It's not the longest game in the world. I think it's clocking in about 8 to 10 hours, something like that. We wanted it to be quite a compact, constantly fresh, constantly exciting kind of an experience. And so we thought a straight-ahead kind of narrative, linear kind of experience would be a good fit. But at the same time, we wanted to add that feeling of exploration around the edges of the game. So we've hidden art scrolls around the game, and these art scrolls have got development artwork on them. One of the themes of the game is creativity, and the idea of creative works of art and people that create art, whether that's writing or drawing. And it seemed like appropriate to have the creative process of the game be an element that you actually encounter as you're playing the game. The Plucky Squire will be released on Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the Nintendo Switch on September the 17th.